My husband almost killed our baby, and in an unbelievable twist, my toddler stepped in and saved his life. Hey Reddit, I need to share this story because I'm still shaking from what happened. I'm 25 female. Been with my husband 30 male since 2018. We have a 3-year-old girl and a newborn boy. But tonight, things almost took a tragic turn. My husband has always had trouble paying attention, but I never thought it would come to this. Our neighborhood is weirdly laid out, with cars zooming by at crazy speeds. I was folding clothes when I heard our toddler screaming, "Dad, help." That tone made me drop everything and sprint outside. What I saw made my blood run cold. Our newborn in his stroller, careening towards the busy street. I screamed and lunged, barely stopping the stroller in time. My baby girl's hands and knees were scratched up because she tripped trying to run after the stroller. I snatched up my baby, heart pounding, and scanned for my husband. He wasn't watching, he was chatting with neighbors, completely oblivious. The anger I felt was unlike anything I've ever experienced. I stormed up to him, shouting in disbelief. He looked shocked at first, then realized what almost happened. The apologies and tears came pouring out, but it was too late. I couldn't wrap my head around how he could be so careless, so blind to our toddler's screams and the stroller rolling away. I packed up the kids and left, staying with my parents. They're on my side, but my husband keeps texting, begging forgiveness, calling it an honest mistake. But I can't shake the terror of almost losing my baby because he couldn't focus for a single second. My baby girl got hurt in the process, because he couldn't pay attention. I almost lost my son because he couldn't pay attention. I can't stop crying. I feel so guilty. I wish this all never happened. Sorry it's short, I just want to hold my babies and I can't stop shaking every time I think about it. What if I was just 1 second late? Would I have been planning a funeral? Comments. Comment 1. Hi. I have had and a small child. I've spoken to neighbors' parents at the park. But I always keep an eye out on my kid. He is a runner, so I have to keep checking in, but in his stroller? I'm in an area full of packed people and trains as the main transportation. I have to be careful. Comment 2. As someone with ADHD, I fucking hate how every post where someone displays negligent or selfish behavior, there's always someone who goes, well, maybe they have AD, and can't help it. Have you considered that you should be more understanding? Update 1. The neighbor's wife sent me the footage. And I really can't just wrap my head around it. So my husband was walking with the stroller and my toddler was in front of them when they passed the neighbor's house. My neighbor was outside, washing his car, and my toddler saw his pet cat and stopped to go pet it, so my husband stopped. Left my baby on the road. He didn't even bother locking the wheels and walked all the way up the driveway, not even bothering looking back at the baby. He had his back faced to him, for about 5 minutes before the stroller just suddenly started moving. I think it's because the road is on a hill kinda, or it could have been the wind. My toddler never went near the stroller. It couldn't been her. The stroller went down the road and my toddler. That's when she started screaming and running for it when she saw it. The neighbors started running after my daughter when she tripped. He tried to pick her up. That's when the neighbor's wife's car comes into frame, and she stops and starts running back to the way the stroller is coming after that. You can't really see anything, because it's all out of frame. But you can hear all the commotion. My husband just stood there the whole time, hand on his head with a blank stare on his face. He didn't even do anything when our toddler was crying from hurting herself. He only started crying when I confronted him. What do? I genuinely do not know what to do. I'm panicking. This was never the life I wanted for my kids. I don't understand why he wasn't standing there. I have not even gotten a text or a call from him since I got sent the video. It's just been silent. I just can't get the sound of my daughter's screams. That's the sound that no mother wants to hear. I can't explain in the moment, but it felt like my blood went cold. And I just felt pure fear. I never want to watch the footage again. Update 2. Hey everyone. I posted here a while back about my husband nearly killing our newborn son. I wanted to give a quick update on the situation. After reading through the comments, I decided to go back to my husband. Many of you pointed out that if I left him, we'd end up with 50/50 custody of our kids, which I couldn't bear. So, I made the difficult choice to stay, even though my love for him is faded. My plan now is to tough it out until our kids turn 18, and then leave. I'm terrified of getting pregnant again. Especially since I'm not allowed to use birth control, or get my tubes tied. My parents, who could offer support, are moving away, leaving me feeling trapped. Despite everything, my husband tries hard to make things right. He still treats me with affection and goes out of his way to create special moments for our family. Seeing him bond with our newborn and our daughter fills me with conflicting emotions. I know I can't stand being with him, but I can't bear to separate him from our kids either. He was so happy when we came back home, but I can't stand even looking at him. I feel some quilt because he still calls me by my nickname, looks at me like I'm the only girl in the world besides our daughter, and he still continues our traditions, like when the kids are sleeping he will go get ice cream and our favorite snacks and sets up a fort on our bed to watch movies on our laptop. Even though I'm sacrificing my happiness, my priority is ensuring my children's safety and well-being. It's a tough situation, but I'm doing my best to navigate it for the sake of my family. This is a throwaway, so I'm going to log out. Bye. Update 3. It makes so much sense because the way he was talking to the neighbor before everything happened, he was kind of leaning to the side. I talked to my neighbor, and I asked him if he knew that my husband was on drugs. He said he didn't, but he noticed that my husband looked a bit off recently. His wife works at a rehab clinic after a fight where I had to flee with the kids to the neighbor house. She pointed out that the way he was acting was the way that people acted with drug withdrawal. My neighbor and his wife ended up helping me book a flight to my parents. I'm currently with them right now, and I have spoken to a lawyer that my parents are going to help me pay for, I think, all the people from my original post that told me to keep the footage, because it is going to come in handy. My husband keeps sending me videos of him shooting up and doing other substances. He keeps saying that they are going to fix him. He sent me a video of him standing in our kids' room, and he was just screaming at me, saying that it helped him cope with his ad. He took a knife and stabbed both of our kids' mattresses. I am not going back. He even cut up the side of my bed. There's a comment from my previous post that has been sitting in the back of my mind and has been bugging me. I think you know which one it was. It was by their comment saying, I don't care if it was his ADHD, isn't going to fix anything, and will probably only make things worse. Talking and thinking about it like he intentionally tried to kill your child isn't either. With ADHD, you actually do not register things like this at all sometimes. Life expectancy for those of us with ADHD is actually significantly lower, because many of us end up, often accidentally, killing ourselves. It is not the same thing as carelessness, but learning about ADHD a little deeper can help you guys be safer. Understanding how my ADHD works and using different than standard precautions, like my brain needs, has actually most likely saved my life. Lie out what you want from him. That's probably that he get his ADHD better under control, whether that be through prescription medication or more homeopathic method. That you get a different place if possible. That he not take your kids out in your front yard without you, etc. Also, neither he or the neighbor noticed, but you heard your kid from inside. Something seems off here. Were your neighbors just watching the stroller roll towards the street? Was your husband on the other side of your house where he couldn't see the stroller? Were you already walking outside as this unfolded? I'm trying to understand better what was going on here and why your husband or the neighbor did not notice, but you did from inside. People via ADHD tend to be incredibly good and quick to AC emergency situations, so this is especially weird. I'm absolutely not accusing you of leaving anything out or anything, but asking you to think about what your husband and the neighbor were doing that neither noticed. That smells fishy. This is a horrible situation. I lost a pet due to the inattentiveness of ADHD, but I can't imagine even nearly losing a child. WTF, it baffles me that you can even compare losing an animal to losing a child. You made people with ADHD sound completely unreliable for themselves, and that they can't do anything. You made them sound very helpless, and saying that the life expectancy thing was completely uncalled for as well, I bet. Many people with ADHD reading that completely disagreed with you, judging from all the comments and YouTube videos I've seen on my post. I don't know if you're projecting that you lost a pet from your inattentiveness of ad. If you are letting things die in your care, you need to get stronger help. And no, I was not going to lay out what I want from him. He's the one that started mixing his meds and was high off his mind every time they went out for a walk. And no, I'm not ableist. I was in a very vulnerable state when I first posted my original post. All I was doing was looking for help and advice, but all I got was, where was you? What were you doing? Why wasn't you with the kids? Why didn't you get your husband checked out? I was healing from a fucking C-section. Get that through your heads. I genuinely hope that everybody that said something horrible about me in my original post has to get cut open, and then 4 days later is forced to run down the street. I gave him another chance like you all said in my original post. You've seen what happened. Stop using ADHD as excuse. I genuinely believe that if he had killed my child you would have defended him, and no, I did not know he was on drugs. And all the people that reached out to me, I'm going to be forever grateful for all of the parents with AD that didn't make me feel like it was all my fault, and all the stories that you guys have shared with me made me feel so seen, because I know exactly how it feels. I hope everybody is doing well. Everybody that was defending me, I wish I could give you a big hug. I genuinely wish I could send gift baskets. I would. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And I am so sorry about that comment that person made. I know you guys are all not like that. You guys are genuinely intelligent. From all the comments that I've read, I could not Thank you guys enough. And one person that sent me that horrible message, I genuinely hope I run into you one day so I can beat your ass until you see stars and say anything about my daughter or my son one more time. And I will literally track you down. Now, for the next story. My wife keeps saying the same things to me, and I'm unsure how to respond. So my wife 32F and I 34M have been together 18 years but have been arguing recently about the responsibilities within our marriage, and we can't seem to agree. I work full-time and my wife is a stay-at-home mother. We have 2 children, one is in school full-time and the other goes to preschool 2.5 days a week. Recently my wife has been sending me the stupid TikToks that always say your wife is your partner, not your mom, and essentially boiled down to men should help out round the house, help with the kids and pick up after themselves. A sentiment I generally agree with. This usually comes with a side of you don't value what I do, to look after the kids and plan everything, etc. Now to be clear, I am not against helping out round the house and helping get the kids to bed, and brush their teeth and cook meals. I do help with this stuff every day. I feel like all I do is work, because the second I finish work, I have kids to help with because she has had them all day. My position is that she is right when she says kids are work, and I can appreciate that after a day of being with them all day, that she is probably tired of kids. But I have also been at work all day too, and it isn't fair to expect me to be sole parent as soon as I'm finished. Then there is the issue of housework. Our house is always a mess, which frustrates me when she complains about having to do all the unpaid labor of managing a household and looking after the kids. Because from my perspective, I go to work in a messy house and I finish work in a messy house. I work from home, go into my office for 8 hours, only coming out for the occasional coffee and snack, which means that 90% of my mess is contained to a room only I go in. Most days while I'm at work, she isn't even home. I feel that I am holding up my end of the bargain by working full-time, and then helping with housework and the kids outside of that. But she isn't holding up her end of it by looking after the house and kids while I'm at work. I could understand that she wouldn't get as much done around the house on days when our youngest is home, but on days where she is at preschool, she'd take it as an opportunity to have a break and go shopping with her mom, or go visit a friend. Whenever I bring this up or question how much effort she is putting in, I get you don't appreciate me and I'm not your mother. I'm not saying she should be waiting on me hand and foot as my personal maid, cook and sextol, not that we ever have sex, because I'm the man, bringing home the bacon, and I really hope I don't come across that way in this post, is that really not what I'm saying. But I am killing myself trying to do everything, yet I am being told I'm the problem for treating her like my mother, because I'm expecting her to do her part. What can I do to help her see my side? Comments. Comment 1. You may want to consider the fair play book and method so you can both see how much work you are doing. Maybe you already have an equitable split, and it will show this to your wife. Maybe you don't, and this will come to light. Comment 2. Can you quantify it? Make a list of tasks and chores for the household and list who is doing what, and who is contributing what, and see if you can come to an understanding of the division of effort. Update 1. So a lot of people are saying we need to sit down and try to look at things as a team, and I am totally on board for this approach, and will let you know how it goes. Also, to a few people dislike my framing of helping as it's my responsibility also. I agree. I use the term helping as that's the word she uses when saying I need to do more to help around the house. Another lot of you either can't read or are refusing to believe that I actually parent my own children. I wake them up in the morning. I make them breakfast every day. I get them dressed every day. I take them to school 2 to 3 days a week. I know their teachers, I know all their friends and their friends' parents' names. I know their doctors, I know their allergies, none thankfully. I bath them. I get their PJs on and read them the same goddamn bedtime story every night for weeks. Because they don't want any of the other books we have, they want George the Giant. I draw with them. I play games with them. I know their favorite Disney princesses and favorite superheroes. As for the household, I do laundry. I load the dishwasher. I cook my own lunches and tidy up after myself. I iron, I fold and put away laundry. I pick up their toys and tidy their playroom. I hoover at the weekend and take them to kids' parties. I also do all the chores that my wife wants because I'm the man, like taking out the bins, cleaning the car, mowing the grass, fixing anything that breaks. Update 2. So, I arranged for the in-laws to have the kids Friday night. Me and the wife sat down and had a talk. A long talk, probably one of the deepest and hardest talks we have ever had in our 18 years. I told her my side, that I felt overwhelmed and underappreciated. That I felt I was doing more than my fair share and that she wasn't. I told her that I could understand that while I may be doing plenty around the house and parenting, that I was guilty of letting her take the majority of the mental load, but that still didn't excuse her behavior. I felt I was firm but fair, and to her credit, instead of fighting back, she listened. We discussed her feelings, and she admits to not prioritizing housework and trying to make the most of her free time, and agreed that we will sit down and come up with a schedule for cleaning that we are both accountable for. She told me some issues that I wasn't aware of that her mother had been dealing with since retiring and the passing of her father-wife's granddad. Loneliness, depression, issues relating to my SIL, she's a mess, and constant headache. Which was why she had been going to see her so much. Other feelings she had been having about feeling lost in kids, not having anything for herself, and some depression related to weight gain since having our second child. She's put on 40-50 pounds and no longer feels attractive. I told her that I still think she's beautiful, but she doesn't. Hence our DB. There were hurt feelings and tears from both of us. So we are taking steps to help. 1. We have both agreed to switch out mornings and evenings. I get the kids up, breakfast, teeth, dressed, and take them to school. She does dinner, bath, bed, etc. The next day we switch. This gives us both some mornings, evenings free to do what we want. 2. We are both joining the gym. I too have put on some weight and lost muscle since our second child. Hopefully this helps with her body confidence. 3. We are also arranging with the in-laws to have babysitters once a week for us to start going on regular dates again. For context, the in-laws are our only support. I'm an orphan of abusive parents, raised by my grandmother, now passed. 4. We have found a cleaning schedule, where you do certain chores throughout the house every day but pick one room to deep clean every day too. With me doing laundry, dishwasher, etc. Things that take less time. Her doing the deep cleans and general tidying. 5. Most importantly, she is looking to get a job part-time so she can start helping financially, give her some income that isn't from me, and give her something to focus on outside of being a mom. As all my wages went into the joint account, I felt like I never had any money, as I didn't want to spend and there not be enough to pay the mortgage, etc. So I never spent money and resented that she did. So when she gets a job, both incomes are going into the joint account. Then we are getting a budget together, making sure there is enough to cover direct debits, then dividing the remaining into accounts for savings and personal accounts for each of us to have our own money that we can spend how we want, guilt-free. 6. I'm going to pick up a hobby that gets me out of the house and commute to the office once a week. One thing we discussed was that I was always at home. I didn't do anything other than work and be at home. So we didn't have a lot to talk about, because I didn't go anywhere. It also meant that she never got any alone time at home away from me and the kids, and she felt like a nuisance being at home while I'm at work. We took this weekend to spend some time together as a family. Took the kids to the park, went to a nature reserve for a picnic and bike rides. Took the kids rock climbing, followed by ice cream. It was really nice, and we both feel like a weight has been lifted. It's obviously not going to change overnight, and we need to work at it. But we have a plan and both seem to want to put in the effort. To everyone who gave me good advice, recommended therapy, we can't afford it until she starts work, but we are looking for when she does, commiserated with your own stories, or just had a kind word to say. Thank you so much. There were comments that made me cry and so much insight that I hadn't considered. Thank you. To those of you who clearly didn't read my post but instead assumed I was entitled and entirely to blame because I used the word help, or that I probably didn't know my own children's birthdays and allergies, I feel sorry for you, and hope that you get the help you so sorely need.